Subjugating the need for control. While finding a comfortable, uninterrupted space, prepare your psychological mind for entry into the subliminal depths of dark matter. That space where anything can and does happen. And while you contemplate this preparation, you can understand that achieving this goal has nothing to do with your concentrated effort, but rather it has more to do with your ability to adhere to certain methods of the resignation of any effort. In that space we'll be tapping into shortly, your subconscious is aware of the complete necessity of productive internalization. And as you wonder what productive internalization may consist of, your conscious mind can become one step closer to achieving it. And there it is, right there. Your association with the state of deep relaxation is a combination of your conscious attention to attaining it and your subconscious initiative to activate it. And as your whole mind consolidates in compliance toward the same objective, you may notice yourself becoming another step closer to its acquisition. And there it is, right there. Now, as this shift continues to progress, there may be certain physiological changes you begin to notice. You may feel more comfortable with your eyes closed than open. Your tongue may relax in your mouth as your swallow reflex slows right down. And you may notice an impeccable quality of heaviness prepositioning your muscles to let go. Thoughts in your mind may become silent and still, and without even indulging in the pace of your breathing, it may instinctively deepen and slow down to enhance these effects. And once again, there it is, right there. Many of the sensations flooding through you right now will ascertain the level of abdication you're prepared to allow yourself to experience. And this abdication may happen suddenly, slowly, accumulatively, or rapidly, depending on your individual receptivity to it. When you abdicate control, you let go. And when you let go, it's very much like your conscious mind takes a rest. And while your conscious mind is resting, it allows the space for your subconscious mind to explore some of those issues your conscious mind has difficulty processing. And your subconscious mind knows exactly which issues I'm referring to here. Throughout the duration of your life until now, you have managed to create feelings of security in yourself, in any way you understood it. And those feelings of security may have helped to alleviate any discomfort you may have experienced in your world. Much of this security may have been created by your conscious mind, such as taking certain precautions or preventative strategies that kept you safe. And for the most part, these strategies for security have more than likely worked for you to some degree. What you may not have noticed about how this conscious security is developed or grown is that it may have taken a great deal of effort on your part to organise a level of control over your environment and to maintain that control to keep security established. Now, while you may have consciously ascertained the strategies implemented unconsciously, certain pathways in your brain conducted their own symphony to orchestrate behavioural development and chemical composition for the maintenance of the said procedures. And once these pathways were established, the pattern became an unconscious procession with the purpose of dictating specific outcomes. You may or may not have noticed at different points in your life that this specific pattern is predictable, and no matter how you try to change it, the outcome is always deferred back to the original blueprint. This can be difficult to consciously understand if you've never experienced the intent to change something that unconsciously refuses to be changed. And it can often initiate long periods of soul-searching to find ways that introduce interruptions into that established pattern of behaviour, resulting in further effort to control something that doesn't change using control mechanisms. The control mechanisms you may or may not be familiar with may have become the driving force behind the strategies and precautions you implement to control unrecognized and unresolved fear. Fear that is accrued from a lack of trust in your own ability to keep yourself safe, whether that consisted of protecting yourself from someone laughing at you, bullying you, or traumatizing you in any way. If you've lived through some difficult life circumstances, it may be normal for you to experience this loss of trust in yourself and your world. You may have found that all the trying and effort you invest has not brought the changes so desperately required to prevent being a victim of your own fear. Your conscious mind is a great adapter, and whatever happens, it consistently finds ways to work around it. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, will back your conscious mind up by implementing chosen behavioural patterns and enforcing their effectiveness. Your subconscious also contains deep within it the answers to all your questions and the resolution to all your dilemmas. It knows the exact applications to reroute pathways that have become hypersensitive, and how to transform fear-driven behaviour into trust-driven behaviour. And I wonder if you doubt that the very answers you've been seeking have actually been inside you all along. Maybe you've tried and tried to find your solutions without seeing the optimal results expected. And in all your effort, you may not have even realised that you could have been standing in your own way, blocking your own success by trying so hard. You see, at a conscious level, where problems are usually created, it can seem almost impossible to rewire a past negative experience into a positive outcome. And consciously, you might be right in perceiving this. That is, of course, if you don't understand the workings of your subconscious mind. You see, your subconscious mind works on a different method. There is no trying or effort when you work with these programs, there is only a letting go of conscious effort. And once you can let go of conscious attainment, your subconscious mind will restore perfect equilibrium and balance automatically. You do have the power to heal yourself without your conscious self's effort in trying to do so. To illustrate this further, if you cut your finger, do you need to focus on that cut? Send healing to it for hours each day so it closes up and repairs? Or do you just let it go and allow your subconscious mind to do what it does best? This automated healing doesn't just work with little things though. This is how your subconscious mind works with all things, and it's in your conscious letting go process that it does its best work. Imagine you're holding a pencil in your right hand. Feel the weight of the pencil on your skin and notice its colours. Now wrap your hand around the pencil and squeeze it tightly. Continue to squeeze until you feel your hand fatiguing. And as you notice this, release your grip on the pencil and allow your hand to open flat and the pencil to roll around on your palm. As you were squeezing this pencil tightly, the pencil had no movement. It was completely restricted in your grip. But as you released the pencil, it was free to roll around or move with your movement. In relation to the development of fear-based control mechanisms for security, this has been the conscious mind's effort to recreate some sense of safety for the self, when in actuality, this was never its job to do. You may not remember, but you were born with an inherent sense of safety. Your levels of trust were explicitly innate. And as you grew up and experienced life's challenges, your trust in life was confronted and shaken. To compensate for this, your conscious mind may have intervened to adapt to declining levels of trust, and control mechanisms may have been implemented to help with those adaptations. Your subconscious mind would then have reinforced this kind of behaviour as you were unconsciously choosing not to resolve your initial sensitizing event, right at the foundation where fear diminished your trust. This is a normal mechanism of the human state, and due mostly to the lack of knowledge on how to resolve these issues. The answers to resolution always lie within you. The conscious acquisition of these answers, however, cannot be attained by effort, but will be automatically implemented when you learn to let go of effort. Imagine that you're running. You're running as fast and as far as you can, not from anything in particular, you're just running. Hear the sound of your feet hitting the ground as you run, the pace of your breathing. Feel the breeze on your face as you run into it. Run until you've had enough, and then stop. Stop and listen to the silence. Notice how much louder the pounding of your heartbeat is in the silence, and the warmth in your muscles. The run has done you good, and now it's time to stop and allow all your body functions to return to normal. At this point, you've let go of the need to run. If we look at the correlation of this with the seasons of nature, we can see Mother Nature lets go of the leaves on the trees in autumn for the hibernation of winter, and she lets go of the dying to herself in winter to be reborn in spring, and to reach a height of growth in summer before she lets go again in autumn. There is no control, it is all automated. When a baby bird sets out on its first experience of flying, it does so by letting go of its conscious effort to stay safe, trusting that it will fly. And in many instances in your life, you have experienced the very act of letting go and trusting the automated outcome. Every act of independence you attained growing up involved a letting go of conscious control as you trusted yourself to stand on your own 2 feet. And even every breath you take right now is completed by its own letting go process through exhalation. Letting go of conscious control is a natural process of life. It is the basis of allowing your greatness within to express itself. The challenges it introduces along the way are co-factors in helping you to progress past the limitations of your own fear. And for every fear you conquer, your trust in your own ability is accelerated. Can you recall a time in your childhood years when you felt afraid to do something and you pushed yourself beyond this fear to complete it? And when you did, do you remember how good you felt about yourself? How confident and proud of yourself you were? This is a great example of letting go of the need to consciously control, to gain something far greater beyond those limitations. Sometimes the act of letting go of your need to control can be just too difficult to consciously overcome, and the fear may feel much bigger than you can take on. In these moments, focusing on your breath will help to take the focus off the fear response occurring and create a safe space for your attention. In doing this, your fear response becomes smaller and your ability to confront it becomes larger. Try this now. Take a deep breath in and imagine this breath is filled with trust flowing into your heart. And as you breathe out slowly, watch the breath exit your heart and leave through your exhale, taking that fear response with it. This is a conscious action that illustrates to your subconscious your intention to let go and to replace fear with trust. And the more you practice this technique, the more ingrained it will become as an initial response in your automated behavior. Now, as you focus on breathing in, and you let go of the need to control as you breathe out, I'd like you to think about the earliest time you can remember when things felt out of control or you felt overwhelmed by your environment. The memory of this will take you back to a childhood experience at an age when you felt most vulnerable. And as you remember this time, you can become aware of how safe you are to review it now as an observer. Imagine you are watching this experience on a movie screen, and you have control of the reel that projects the picture onto the screen. You can view this experience from a distance as an observer of something that happened in your past without the emotional connection you had to it back then. When you have those images firmly in your mind, I want you to stop the movie and rewind it backwards very quickly to before it began. Now, before you replay this experience, take in 3 deep breaths and calm your whole nervous system down by letting go of any resistance to the experiences happening. That's it. Now play the experience again and continue to breathe deeply as you watch it, breathing trust energy in and letting go of the need to control any outcome as you breathe out. That's the way. When you reach the end of the experience, rewind it once again to the beginning. Now, as you play the experience back again, as you breathe deeply, imagine that the child that you were back then is also deepening their breathing. And they're breathing trust in too, and allowing themselves to let go of the outcome as they breathe out. This exercise is intended to restore optimal levels of trust, regardless of the circumstances that initially diminished it, with the faith and the knowing that life continues on. Guide the child's breathing with your own as the observer now, and play the experience out to the end. Once you've reached the end, stop the movie and rewind it quickly again to the beginning of the experience. Replay this one more time, and once again, guide the child's breathing through the experience with your own. Breathing in trust, breathing out fear. Nice deepened breaths that focus on letting go of all outcomes and any need for controlling them. Play it to the end and stop the movie. You have just taught a part of yourself how to cope with something overwhelming. And you can use this method multiple times for any other points in your life where things felt out of control or overwhelming. You are always safe within your breath. And these pictures and movies you review and alter also relay to your subconscious mind, your intention to transcend any fear that has held you back in life. Imagine you can see a door in your mind and see yourself facing this door. It can be an old solid door or a new modern door. You don't know what's on the other side of this door, and the unknown may feel daunting. But you have two choices here. One, you can stay where you're comfortable. Two, you can open the door and explore the potential behind it. Will you allow fear to master your mind in this situation? Or will you promote courage to managerial position? Make your choice and see yourself completing it in your mind. Imagine again, you are sitting in front of a building made of children's small building blocks. Pay attention to the details of this building. It may be short and wide, or tall and slim. It could be grey in colour, or consist of multiple colours. It may be rigid in its alignment, or more ambiguous. This is a building you've built with these blocks, but you may not remember building it. I'd like you to knock the building down and start rebuilding a new building. Add lots of rooms to your new building, with many doorways but no doors. You can make it square, round, rectangular, or octagonal in shape, and be creative with your materials. Stop occasionally to admire your creativity. The Chinese believe that by unblocking areas of qi in the body, life energy is restored to its optimal. When you unblock your mind of the fear that restricts your unconscious potential, your subconscious will provide new methods of removal of these restrictions. And these new methods can show up in many different ways. And as the obstructions are removed by your unconscious, the energy they took to sustain can be diverted into an automated restoration of inherent trust. Just like watching the thoughts in your mind as you observe their ways, without intervening, the unrestricted power of healing flowing from your subconscious will automatically remove any obstruction to its healing capacity on every level of your being and restore maximum efficiency. By watching your breath consistently throughout your day-to-day life, you can occupy your consciousness while the expertise of your subconscious completes those things it does best. And I don't know how you'll experience your own subconscious shift, or if this shift will happen suddenly or spontaneously. And you don't even need to contemplate its happening at all, as your attention is captivated by the power of retraining your breath. Your conscious awareness of the changes you'll experience will provide an indication of their existence Once the majority of the work is completed and there is no possibility of interference, and you can then consciously recognize your liberation. As you bring your awareness back to your current location, maintain the consciousness of your breath and remember how to use it to your full advantage in rebuilding new levels of trust. Notice areas of your body now and begin to infuse them with your attention. Pay attention to any outside sensory stimulation and feel yourself in your body. When you feel totally present, you can open your eyes.